This is a beginner's guide to the magical world of medicinal plants. Always do your own research. Always stay up to date on any supplements you may be taking. Always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any herbal remedy, especially if you have pre existing conditions, pregnant or breastfeeding. Also, if you are taking any sort of prescription, whether it is over the counter or prescribed, as some herbs can mess with the effectiveness of your medication and in some cases make it absolutely useless. So, also, I am not a doctor. I am simply a beginner herbalist, just trying to make the world a more natural place, one herb at a time. And with that out of the way, welcome and welcome back, my botanical babes and my funky fun guys, to Medicinal Mondays with Ray, where we talk all things medicinal, magical, herbal, and holistic. Blessings and good vibes to you. I'm Ray. Okay, so this week we're going to take it a little different. We're going to talk about one of my favorite groups of plant medicine. Um, these funky fun guys are incredible and very underestimated and very not talked about enough. And it's medicinal mushrooms. I'm not talking about the funky weird ones, although they have their own benefits. I'm talking about the medicinal ones, the actual medicinal ones. And since it is like harvest season for this one, I figured what a perfect time to introduce and talk about my friend Chaga. Because it's the coolest thing that you can find in the forest. And you will absolutely miss it if you don't know what you're looking for. Because unlike other mushroom fruiting bodies, Chaga doesn't really have a mycelium network and doesn't really spread itself underground. It's unique in its relationship with a birch tree. Oh, yeah. Chaga grows on birch trees. So sometimes if you're walking the forest and you see the tall birch trees and they've got like this cancerous lump, that's chaga. And by the way, the signature of doctrines, whatever the fuck it is, a lot of these plants look, or especially mushrooms, look like the systems they work for. So chaga looks like a giant cancer growth. And you know what it's fucking really good for? Anti-fucking cancer. Anti-cancer properties in this fucking mushroom alone. That's incredible. But it does so much more. It does so much more. And I can't wait to get into them with you. So, we've already talked about it looks like a chunk of burnt charcoal or like a tumor or a growth. Um, but inside, because it's really hard, inside that crusty, weird exterior is one of the most antioxidant rich medicinal fungi people have been using for fucking centuries. So, like I said, instead of growing a typical mushroom cap or fruiting body, it forms a hard black mass on birch trees, especially in colder regions like Canada, Alaska, Northern Europe, Russia. Them folks have been drinking like chaga tea like it's coffee, part of their daily ritual for centuries. It was a way of life, and it was I was gonna say a good way of life, but simple, I guess is the word. So long before Chaga arrived and started showing up in your healthcare stores and your influencers and all of this and wellness blogs, people living in these places have already been using them. They already know the shit that it does. And that's the way it is with a lot of medicinal plants, is that people have been using them for centuries. They know it works, but science is slow to catch up. So let's talk about why it grows on a birch tree. So one of the interesting things about chaga is that it mostly grows on birch. You can find it on others, but birch is its like preferred. So again, no hidden mycelium network. It has a big tumorous black growth. And what it does is it actually absorbs and transforms some of the compounds in the birch tree, which is butylene and butylenic acid. So the relationship between the fungus and the tree is part of what gives chaga a lot of its medicinal qualities. They kind of go hand in hand, like nature teamwork at its finest. It's what's the name of that relationship? Symbiotic? Let me insert that because that's the type of relationship that it has. Okay, so I give you guys these terms like every week. And in herbalism, I should explain what they are. We talk about herbal actions, which basically describes how the plant or fungus works in the body. So Chaga's got all kinds. This guy. Chaga is an adaptogen and a very good one. It's an antioxidant. It's an immune modulator or an immunomodulant. And it's also anti-inflammatory. This guy. It's very much antimicrobial. But what does it all mean? I think I've described it enough. But if you can't picture what I'm describing, I have some. So I have chaga in an extract powder that I get from mushaboom mushrooms. And this one has reishi in it. An anti-inflammatory dynamic duo, chaga and reishi have a calming effect on inflammation, helping your body find its natural balance, rich in antioxidants and beta-glucans. Love these guys. They are my go-to for my medicinal mushrooms. They have mushroom logs that you can grow. They've got different teas. They've got different powder extracts. Super knowledgeable, super nice fellas. Highly recommend mushaboom mushrooms if you're looking for some. And also there's a lady, and I wish I could remember her name at the farmer's market. She's also my go-to lady for medicinal mushrooms. But I have also some that I harvested and friends of mine harvested. That's basically what chaga looks like. If it zooms it, or if you can see it. Looks like, a big chunk of stuff on a birch tree. But it's more than that. It is more than just a funky fungus growing on a birch tree. Chaga supports immune system balance. So it helps your immune system. It helps keep your immune system in check, let's say. Think of it like a gentle coach for your white blood cells, boosting when needing, calming things down when they get overexcited. Perfect for the cold, sniffy months or anytime you need extra support. Now is a good time to harvest it, like I said. Chaga is also the antioxidant powerhouse that I mentioned earlier. This mushroom is packed with antioxidants, like little warriors that help protect your cells from stress and damage. Regular sips of chaga tea can help your body fight off oxidative chaos in your life. Like I said, folks have been using this as a daily ritual to keep themselves in check. Huge anti-inflammatory effects. Like if your body is feeling a bit achy or inflamed, chaga can help soothe it from the inside out. Chronic inflammation, it may gently calm it, supporting overall wellness. Again, speak to your doctor, but I'm going to suggest this one strongly. It's got aptogenic, adaptogenic, there it is, adaptogenic benefits. So life is stressful, honey, we know it all. Chaga is an adaptogen, which means it helps your body adapt to stress. We talked about it in the Tulsi video, whether it's from work or family or just the energy of the season, because we're getting into detox season with the spring. So it's like a little hug from the forest for your nervous system. Chaga also supports your digestive system. So traditionally, especially for people in harsher climates who just needed to keep their systems running smoothly, even through the long winters, chaga tea has been very, very good for that. Let it steep Make a strong tea, sip on it all day long, like the people in Siberia and Northern Europe did. They've been drinking Chaga tea for centuries as a daily tonic, like every freaking day, like it's a cup of coffee. They believed it helped sustain energy, vitality, and overall resilience. And I mean, if you're living in Siberia, I feel like it's a long winter. And I feel like you also need that extra support in your system. Because along with long winters comes like no sun, comes the sad, comes a whole slew of things that just like slap at your immune system and slap at your cortisol levels and fucking just slap, 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 slap you all out of balance. So I'm going to go back and touch on something I said in the beginning too, um, about the anti-cancer properties. So chaga is often called a super antioxidant mushroom, and one of the reasons is because of the potential anti-cancer effects. Now I say potential because research is lab-based and animal studies so far. If you want to get in the science about it, because we're not claiming that it cures cancer, we're not claiming that, but it does have a lot of anti-cancerous properties. So let me clarify that. That being said, there are so many real life testimonies about medicinal mushrooms, chaga especially, and their anti cancerous properties. So I'm not claiming that chaga is a cure at all, but what I am suggesting is it's a good ally if you find yourself in that situation where you need radiation or chemotherapy or whatever, you need an extra support. Chaga is incredible for that. So I don't want to give false information. I'm not about that. The information that I give is as true and as best to my knowledge. But I want to make folks aware that there are medicinal mushrooms and some herbs that do have anti cancer properties. But how does it do it? Well, chaga contains a lot of compounds like butylenic acid, polysaccharides, and other antioxidants that may help protect you from oxidative stress, which is a huge factor in cancer development, support the immune system, potentially by helping the body respond to abnormal cells. That's the dog trying to fuck with the cat, and the cat's not having it. But chaga also reduces inflammation. So that can play a role in chronic disease prevention. So a lot of these herbs and our friends here are preventative. Preventative. That being said, they are medicine to help acute, chronic, and everything in between. But a lot of them are for prevention. So if you take care of your body, take your herbs, the ones that have antioxidants and preventative things, you're taking a step towards not ending up with those things. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So, like I said, while we can't say it's a cure, chaga really is packed with compounds that scientists are studying for their anti-cancerous potential. Scientists are studying what people for millennia, maybe even centuries for sure, already knew. But that's not new for science, is it? Who is chaga good for? Well, chaga is good for anybody who wants some immune support naturally, especially during cold and flu season. People who are looking for a daily wellness tonic packed with antioxidants, this one's for you. Anybody who loves adaptogens. I love me an adaptogen. I love me an adaptogen. Check out the other video if you want to learn more about adaptogens. Anybody who enjoys rituals or teas with a little magic, forest connection, meditative teas, like those things. And anybody who wants like gentle anti-inflammatory support for their joints or aches or just overall general wellness vitality. Anybody who wants to kickstart their immune system. Basically, if you're looking to sip something that nourishes your body while connecting to the forest, chaga is really good for that. Even I find that. I find when I add chaga to my tea, especially, I feel a connection. It's weird. But it's safety time, and those who might want to skip chaga are people on blood thinning medications because it can affect clotting. Anyone with an autoimmune disorder who is unsure about immunomodulating herbs. That's important because some of them are stimulants and some of them are not. So if you already have an autoimmune disorder, you'll want to speak to a professional about taking an immunomodulant. Those who are pregnant or breastfeeding, of course, unless cleared by your healthcare professional, always check, always check, always check. I can't stress that enough. Talk to somebody trusted. Talk to some like an herbalist or your doctor, nurse, whoever. Make sure that they're open to this. I have noticed there are a lot of professionals who turn their head or their nose up at natural herbal remedies, which is unfortunate because it's such, it doesn't replace your regular healthcare. It just adds to it. Like, how can you have a holistic approach to your wellness if they're if your provider leaves empty holes like Swiss cheese? That's not very complete. And it's unfortunate. But chaga is awesome for immune support, stress balance, and just sipping your way into forest vibes. It really friggin' is. But again, if you're on blood thinners or certain medications or have certain medical conditions, check with your healthcare provider and all that, my botanical babes and my funky fun guys, because I ain't about to see us hurt. And since we also talk about all things fucking magical here, chaga carries some beautiful symbolism with it as well. Because it grows so slowly on a birch tree, and I forgot to mention that, chaga takes forever to grow. It's another reason why it's important to harvest sustainably, is if you take it all, it's gone. And it takes so long to grow, to absorb, to pull all the nutrients, to do its magic. It takes a long time. And since it's found in some of the harsher climates, again, Canada, Russia, Northern Europe, Alaska, it's often associated with resilience, endurance, deep forest magic. Fuck yeah. Birch trees have their own symbolism as well. Renewal, protection, growth. Let me make sure I got that right. Renewal and protection. Yeah. So chaga also carries that energy with it. So not only do you have the energetic properties of the mushroom, but you've got energetic properties from the birch tree, from the roots, from the forest foundation, from the ecosystem. It's like a whole fucking circle of life. And it's beautiful and it's magical that something like that grows on a fucking tree. And it kind of reminds you that things don't have to be pretty, they don't have to be flashy, they don't have to be aesthetically pleasing to work. Chaga's not the prettiest mushroom out there. It's not the softest, and it's not the easiest to obtain. But it's got some deep medicinal roots and properties. So I guess with that thought, you don't always have to go for the biggest, flashiest packaging in order for something to be beneficial or to work. Sometimes it looks like a fucking cancer growth on a tree. Anyway, thanks for joining me in the kitchen this week. I had a great time. I'm inspired to go out and see if I can find my own chaga because half of the snow is melted here. So that's wonderful. I can get to the forest. I can find myself some. Oh, another tip with your harvesting, make sure your equipment's clean. Yeah. Make sure your equipment's clean. You know, isopropanol, clean them off. You don't want to spread disease or infection to the ecosystem that you're visiting. Yeah. Alrighty. That's it for chaga. That's it for this week, my botanical babes and my funky fun guys. Don't forget to help your soil sister out. like, share, comment. I know you've been watching. Help me make the world a more natural place, one herb at a time, because it costs you fucking nothing. All right. Stay magical. Wait, stay natural. And may your Mondays be magical.